My name is Francisco Bethencourt. I work for the Pepsi Beverage Company. I am the Director of Hispanic Strategy and Business Development. So, I think it's critical for U.S. corporations to really think about this. When you look at many corporations, the frontline managers, the middle managers, and even the senior management don't reflect what the market is. So if you look at consumers, how consumers are evolving, how customers are evolving, I think it's critical for commercial enterprises to really understand the diversity of their consumer base, the shopper base, the diversity of the customer evolution. And the reality is that we over-index in many of these key markets and where the growth and the population growth is coming. So Hispanic are critical, and therefore corporations need to take into consideration the hiring, retention, and advancement opportunities for Hispanics within their ranks. I would say out of the 6 that the Center for Hispanic Leadership are considering, there are 2 of them that resonates better with me. One is the circular vision, the ability to anticipate change. I think we are wired to think through opportunities where maybe the general market population don't see those opportunities, and we have the ability to anticipate change or to see gaps in that. The other one to me that relates to my case, I think, is the passion. Putting passion into what you do. I think it brings the work to an extra mile compared to a regular status quo. I think it brings the results and the connections with the people you do the work with to that extra mile, bringing the passion onto the day-to-day work. I think when I was a child, I was always looking for new ways of solving issues. So I think I have a capability, to understand, critical issues in a project or an initiative. And when I was a child, I did that a lot. And then figuring out how to solve for that, figuring out how to come together. And the one aspect to that, I think, is the relationship piece. You get to do things through people. So any initiative, even at work now, goes through people. So the ability to establish those relationships and the ability to influence them as you identify those gaps, those opportunities, and then try to correct that or put a solution, I think is something I apply over and over in my work, and I reapply from my childhood experience into my day-to-day work. There is an intent on diversity. There is an intent on embracing new cultures, no doubt about that. I think that's clear mainstream in corporate America now. However, the effectiveness of that, the reality of that, how that is really, really embraced by senior management, and how people feel about that, has different results. I do think like a general market managers and leadership teams need to be exposed to this in an ongoing basis. It's not a one-time shot. It is like an ongoing commitment by the organization to engage them, make them aware, and then evolving over time on the thinking and incorporating this diverse thinking into the strategies and plans. Today, sometimes this is driven maybe by HR, like a functional type of things, and it should be, I think, become more in the leadership style, that you embrace diversity from that angle, as opposed to an initiative more containing the HR function type of the. So I think the results are, they vary. I mean, they are not that effective. And if you ask individually how Hispanic, for example, Latinos in corporations feel, I do think there is a big opportunity to really cover and fulfill our needs, in terms of, retention, in terms of professional advancement, in terms of really respecting, I would say, the word respect, our identity and our way of thinking, which might be different from the mainstream type of thinking. I think the statement might be a bit too harsh. I mean, I see this like a journey. Needs to be accelerated, yes. I mean, it's true that if you look at any numbers in many of the industries, and we are underrepresented, clearly, compared to the population. But there is a motive to that, right? If you look at the people going through high school or college, or education is a big barrier to that. Both education in general, the language in some of many families, right? So I think there are some steps that are in the right direction. I do think that over the next few years we should see more Hispanic representation in corporations and in the public sector. I mean, we have Sotomayor last year nominated to the Supreme Court, and so there is inroads. Constantly you see not only in the entertainment industry, but inroads in many fields that are happening. So I don't think that the window is closing, but I do think that we have a responsibility, everybody of us that are in different leadership positions in organizations, to raise the bar and to raise the awareness of this, to work through this and share that with your colleagues and with your management, and with so step by step corporations and the public can embrace that and eventually give the opportunity to Hispanic leaders. And concerns about that is that there's always that mindset of should I there is when you look at consumers, Hispanic consumers, we've identified clearly what we call a frame switching, meaning depending on the context, that person will shift. So if that person is in a weekend with a family or friends, he or she behaves like a true Hispanic Latino. Not only the language, but the gesture, the passion, even the tone of the voice. We speak louder normally than the Caucasian do. So that person switch to the professional environment when he or she comes back on Monday morning to work, to be more contained into the context, and the context in that case is predominantly white Caucasian. So, and there is some norms that about, you're aware about. So you try to dress up more formally or more discreet. You try to talk softer. And so there is something of that going on in the Hispanic population. So I think it is a question. It's a journey. I do think it's a journey of everybody individually and then as an organization to move wherever you are from the current status to a more culture that embrace more actively the diverse thinking in a good way. Yeah.